Welcome back everyone. From Season 3, Episode 6 begins with Tabitha and Jim at their home in Fromville as the former struggles to sleep at night after the series of events that rocked her life recently. She is now starting to believe the complaints of the townsfolk against her, that she could have and definitely should have done more to raise awareness about this strange place when she got the chance to visit the real world. Jim tries to comfort Tabitha and calm her down, but she snaps back, saying that false positivity is something that she does not need at this moment. This also leads to a meltdown between the couple, as Jim's aunt complaints against his wife are now expressed by him, as he seems to firmly believe that Tabitha has a problem letting others be part of her life. Jim states that Tabitha could have sought the help of her family members instead of going off into the forest alone, and he even drags up an incident from the couple's troubled past when they were about to get divorced. According to Jim, the divorce would have happened only because Tabitha was unable to live the grief of having lost their youngest son Thomas, leading to her strange and selfish desire to be distant from the rest of her family. However, Tabitha remembers the situation very differently, and she recalls how Jim used his professional life to deal with his grief in a selfish manner by physically and emotionally abandoning his family members. Tabitha would have to deal with a difficult situation all by herself when Julie and Ethan would ask about Thomas or spend time with his toys, and this was the reason for her demanding a divorce. As the argument between the couple escalates into a screaming contest that is heard by their children downstairs, it is interrupted only by a loud shriek of a monster from the nearby forest. The source of this loud shriek is not discussed in this episode, suggesting that the monsters probably make such a noise late at night, and the townsfolk are quite used to it already. The next morning, Jim goes off to the cabin into the woods, volunteering to be the part of the food gathering group, and Tabitha is left alone once again. It is suggested that even if Tabitha and Jim would have gotten divorced before ending up to Fromville, she would have taken custody of these kids, as she is far better with them. Soon, she lets Ethan be part of Jade's mission to solve the mystery of the bottle trees, as the boy is keen on solving puzzles, as Jade has been treating the information collected from the bottles on the trees as a giant puzzle. Julie, on the other hand, acts her age throughout from and just laces around in this episode, smoking some marijuana that she has gotten hold of from Colony House. In the previous episode, Julie and Elgin had searched through the basement of Colony House and had found an old camera that was still in working condition. She remains quite social with the townsfolk as she gets caught by Kenny while smoking and manages to avoid any trouble. Towards the end of the episode, Julie decides to smoke up with Randall, who has finally recovered as well, while Jim remains almost completely out of the scene this week. At the end of the episode 5, Fatima had finally confided in her husband Elise about her strange and insatiable hunger for everything rotten and disgusting, including rotten vegetables and even human blood. She too had been naturally very confused and scared about the well-being of her baby, and also questioned whether there was actually a monster growing inside her womb. Her decision to share the matter with Elise coincided with the arrival of an ultrasound test machine at Fromville aboard the ambulance that had brought Tabitha, Henry and Acosta to the place. As Elise nervously tries to help out his wife in their room in Colony House, Christy tells Boyd about the fact that she has just brought in the ultrasound machine from the ambulance into her clinic. She specifically asks Boyd to let Fatima know of this, so that they can all take a glimpse of the baby crying inside her. The sheriff naturally goes to the Colony House from the clinic, excited to give his son and daughter-in-law the fantastic news. But he sends something off as Elise does not immediately open the door. Inside the room, Elise has to convince Fatima that they need to seek help from others regarding their unnatural situation, and he suggests that his father can most definitely be trusted. Thus, Boyd also learns of Fatima's inexplicable appetite for devouring unnatural and inedible things, and the concerning matter finally gets the attention that it always required. Ultimately, Boyd and Elise decided that it would be best for Fatima to go through the ultrasound test so that they can know for sure what is growing inside her. If it is indeed a monster, then they can be prepared to deal with it when the time comes off. Despite being extremely scared of what the test might reveal, Fatima agreed to get tested, but on the condition they do not let Christy or Mary anything about her condition just yet. At the only clinic at Fromville, Christy and Mary welcome Fatima and prepare her for the ultrasound test with a sense of joy, for their experience with the pregnant patients has always shown how the ultrasound test goes to be something special for new parents. Although that enthusiasm is clearly lacking in Elise and Fatima, they do not suspect much and go about the procedure. However, as the test is conducted, something extremely odd is noticed on screen, for there is simply no trace of any baby inside Fatima's body. She is obviously very disturbed by this finding and angrily insists that her womb is checked once again. But the result does not change in any way. Christy and Mary are also told about the strange condition that she is experiencing. Therefore, it is revealed that Fatima does not have any baby in her womb, despite still experiencing the symptoms of pregnancy. This possibly means that there is indeed something sinister and ghostly pretending to be Fatima's child. Incidentally, Elgin takes a photograph of Fatima's on this new camera while taking shots of everyone at Colony House and putting up the photos in one corner of the building. As he takes a look at this particular photo, Elgin seems to see a second ghostly version of Fatima in the picture, which then turns into the old woman monster that he has been imagining or seeing for quite some time now. The monster directly tells him that she can help him and everyone else escape from village if he helps her first, and she seems to be sort of renegade among the monsters who is seemingly tired of her spirit foe. Or she might just trying to take advantage of Elgin and might turn out to be just as devilish as their other monsters, intending to kill people. Either way, whether this old woman monster is somehow linked with Fatima's invisible baby remains to be seen, and it might be an interesting development in this plot. After having had a nervous but emotional reunion at the end of the Season 3 Episode 5, Victor and Henry are seen together in Colony House as they later visit his son's room to go through his things. Although the two men are meeting after so many years, their father-son bond is quite evident, despite a sense of awkwardness and restraint still being present. Henry gathers the courage to ask Victor whether he can spend the day with him so that they may catch up on all the lost time. But Victor replies that he has to go away on an important mission. So far, Victor has been quite cold and distant towards most people except for few characters he had grown a close bond with. But he clearly cares for his father and his emotions, which is why he quickly clarifies that the only reason he does not want Henry to accompany him is because the mission is going to be extremely dangerous. This suggests that Victor would not actually mind if his father went along with him, and Henry picks up on this hint too, clarifying that he would be more than happy to join him, no matter how hard things might get. Therefore, the two head out of the Colony House and start their journey towards the forest, where Victor has a very specific plan. He wants to enter the underground tunnels running beneath the forest in order to find the exact spot where he had been earlier and had seen the human-like puppet Jasper. Although Victor did not recognize the door at the time, as he did not remember its significance from his childhood days, he had recently recalled how Jasper and its master, the friendly ventriloquist Christopher, might be linked to the mystery of Runbilly. Thus, he wants to seek the puppet once and more and retrieve it from the tunnels, possibly to examine further. Victor and Henry are able to find the exact spot inside the tunnel, which looks like a hall where a number of monsters, including the turned Christopher, are sleeping. Victor finds the puppet Jasper as well and right when he is about to take it. Henry is surprised to see a piece of clothing belong to his wife, Miranda, on the table. This commotion wakes up some of the monsters, but the father and son are able to escape before any danger befalls them. Instead of returning to the Colony House though, Victor takes his father to his original hiding spot, the trailer, which he had made his home before more people came to from village. He reveals that the monsters often like to take things away from humans and might have taken Miranda's dress for the same reason. But Henry is seemingly just happy to find one more proof that his wife had indeed come to this strange place after her disappearance. At the very end of this episode, Tabitha goes through the diary maintained by Jade, in which he has been drawing and writing things that he has been witnessing. A particular drawing catches her attention, and as she asks Jade about it, he reveals that the image is of some strange stick figure statues that were present near the hut in the woods. These are the same statues that have been quite important throughout the season, although we do not yet know much about them. Suspiciously enough, Tabitha recognized the statues without having ever seen them, for she had never ventured out to that part of the forest, and they had only been discovered very recently by Jim and Kenny during their hike in search of the missing woman. It is now that Tabitha explains why she is able to recognize the statues, for she used to see them in recurring nightmare every day when she was younger. With evident fear in her voice, Tabitha asked Jade whether he had seen 3 big red stones in the area as well, which were indeed present at the spot. In the nightmares that she used to have in her childhood days, Tabitha would dream herself trapped amidst of this stick figure statue with 3 big red stones laid out in the circle, while she would be chased and haunted by something massive. Therefore, it means that a gigantic monster heard by everyone who stayed at the hut near the lake was something straight out of Tabitha's nightmares. If this is indeed true, then it would be confirmed the theory that the horrors at Drumville are directly linked with the individual fears of the resident trapped there. Perhaps Tabitha will be able to reveal more about the statues in the episode to come, and their mystery will finally be solved, at least to some degree. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.